In just 9 minutes, uncover 10 powerful takeaways from Ezra Klein's talk with Pulitzer-winning journalist Kathryn Schulz on grief's hidden truth, parenting's quiet power, emotional overwhelm, and the one word that explains your chaos. Takeaway 1, how we hold love and grief together. Kathryn Schulz talks about the strange experience of living through both great love and deep loss at the same time. Her book, Lost and Found, is built around losing her father and falling in love with her partner. What made this experience so powerful was how close together the two events happened. She was grieving her father's death while still falling deeply in love. This overlap is not something most people talk about openly, but it is actually a very normal human experience. We often expect our emotions to be clean and separate, but they rarely are. Life does not come one feeling at a time. Schulz says, we live with both at once, with many things at once, everything connected to its opposite. For example, someone may be preparing a funeral one day and hosting a baby shower the next. These clashing moments are not mistakes in the system. They are the system. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2, grief reveals the truth of life. Schulz shares how grief opened her eyes to the real shape of the world. She says after her father died, I could not stop seeing the world as it really is, marked everywhere by the evidence of past losses and the imminence of future ones. What shocked her was not the pain itself, but the realization that her father's death was not a tragedy by any dramatic definition. He died peacefully at 74, surrounded by people who loved him. What struck her most was that something so deeply sad could also be completely normal. This forced her to see that loss is built into everything. Life is always fragile. Even glaciers, species, and ecosystems vanish. Grief helped her notice how much beauty still exists within all that loss. For example, someone might see a wilted flower, and instead of only mourning its death, they begin to appreciate the full bloom it once had. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3, awe grows when we embrace pain. There is a strange kind of beauty that appears when we are fully present in painful moments. Schulz explains how being with her father in the hospital, though painful and boring at times, also gave her a chance to notice what truly matters. The hospital room was both sterile and sacred. They played Beethoven's Ninth Symphony to bring some beauty into that dull and clinical space. She says, you want more for the sick and the dying. This desire for beauty amid suffering is deeply human. It makes you want to bring poetry, music, or even a glimpse of sunlight into a dark space. For example, someone caring for a dying parent may decorate their hospital room with family photos or favorite books. This small act brings back a sense of life. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4, the pressure to choose one emotion. Ezra Klein shares a common struggle that many people face today. He talks about how he can be reporting on global suffering one moment and then helping his kids with dinner the next. It feels wrong, even dishonest, to feel okay or even happy in the face of other people's suffering. Schulz confirms that this is the heart of why she wrote her book. Life constantly throws contradictory emotions at us. We are supposed to feel sad about tragedy, hopeful about the future, connected to our loved ones, and overwhelmed by the news, often all in the same hour. For example, a journalist might spend the day writing about war, then go home and play with their dog. Both parts are real, but our culture doesn't teach us how to hold them together. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5, we are stretched beyond our limits. Ezra Klein argues that people today are asked to hold more emotional weight than ever before. Our phones buzz constantly with bad news. The worst things happening anywhere in the world are now instantly in your pocket. He calls this an engine for finding and bringing you whatever is going to most upset you. This doesn't just make you aware, it can make you numb or exhausted. Kathryn Schulz agrees and adds that, while we now know so much about global suffering, we know less about our own communities. She says that once, people got 20 minutes of news a day and still lived through wars. Now we get hundreds of updates every hour. For example, a person might get an alert about a bombing on the other side of the world while sitting at a peaceful birthday party. This constant contrast is mentally brutal. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 6, why we need the word and. Schulz explores the idea of the word and as something much deeper than a simple connector. She draws on philosopher William James, who said that in our stream of thoughts, we pay attention only to the content words like nouns and verbs, but not to the and which connects them. But and is what allows two unrelated or opposing things to live together. You can have joy and sorrow, success and doubt. It's what lets us live full lives instead of simple ones. Schulz says, everything is connected to everything else. That's not just overwhelming, it's hopeful. For example, a parent can love their child deeply and also sometimes wish for a moment of silence. Both are true, and the and lets them coexist. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7. The real texture of happiness. Schulz argues that we misunderstand happiness because we think it should be pure and uninterrupted. In reality, even happy times are mixed with stress, frustration, or exhaustion. She points out that most love stories we hear focus on either the beginning or the end, falling in love or breaking up. What gets left out is the long middle, which is where real life happens. She says happiness is not the shiny, perfect kind. It is found in moments of duty, care, and connection. For example, taking out the trash in the rain for your partner is not glamorous, but it can be an act of deep love and shared life. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8. Parenting teaches depth and duty. Kathryn Schulz speaks warmly about how becoming a parent changed her. She says she found patience and meaning she didn't know she had. Her biggest fear before becoming a parent was mornings, since she is not a morning person. But now every morning when her daughter wakes up at 7:30, she shows up because that's what duty is. And oddly, it gives her satisfaction. Schulz says, it's not always what you want to be doing, but it's a deep kind of satisfaction. Parenting reveals that love is often about showing up when it's hard. For example, even when you're exhausted, you might still read your kid their favorite book for the 10th time that week and somehow find joy in it. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9. We are not built for this much news. Klein expresses what many of us feel but rarely say. We were not designed to know this much bad news all the time. He says, the news can sometimes be an engine for finding and bringing you whatever's going to most upset you. That's not how human beings evolved. We used to hear about major events once a day, or even once a week. Now we get updates constantly without context or way to respond. Schulz points out that this has also made the world feel smaller in a bad way. We know what is happening across the globe, but often don't know what is happening in our own building or street. For example, someone might read 5 articles about a crisis in another country, but not know their neighbor lost a job last week. Now let's move to the last takeaway. Takeaway 10. Small moments open up the universe. One of the most beautiful moments in the conversation comes when Schulz talks about her young daughter. One day her daughter walked into their home with a stalk of wheat she had found in the field. She said, we should use this wheat to make bread for people who don't have any. Schulz was moved by this deep thought from a 3-year-old. She realized she was busy admiring her new kitchen, while her daughter was thinking about the poor. It was humbling. This moment reminded her that even small things can open up huge questions about justice, sharing, and empathy. For example, a child might donate their favorite toy to charity, and without knowing it, teach the adults around them something about generosity. Here is a brief introduction about Kathryn Schulz. Kathryn Schulz is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and staff writer at The New Yorker, renowned for her insightful explorations of science, culture, and the human experience. She is the author of the acclaimed books Being Wrong and Lost and Found, which delve into themes of error, love, and loss with lyrical depth and philosophical nuance. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support this channel, hit the thanks button below. It really helps us keep going. If you enjoyed this summary, please leave a like and share it in your WhatsApp groups. To join discussion about this video, drop a comment below. And for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.